The first destination of our journey was Paris, the city of light. We arrived in the morning after an overnight flight and made our way to our apartment. It was raining lightly, and we waited in a coffee shop until our apartment was available. It did give us a chance to sample some of the great coffee and pastries that are ubiquitous in cafes throughout Paris.
One of the highlights was our romantic evening dinner on the Seine River, watching the city come alive at night and wandering back to our place after midnight.
We spent 4 days in Paris, seeing the major sites like Notre Dame, the Orsay, the Louvre museums, the Eiffel Tower, and the Arc de Triomphe.
This ancient city spans millennia of history, and we were so looking forward to exploring the sights, sounds, and tastes of the capital of France. The city is a wonderful place to walk and explore the history that is woven into nearly every block of the old part of town. Our last dinner was a classic French meal on the Ile Saint-Louis on the Seine.
The next day we got up early to head to Italy, where we would spend the rest of our time on this European adventure. First stop in Italy, Rio Maggiore, on the picturesque Italian coast in the Cinque Terre National Park. Rio Maggiore is the southernmost of 5 villages that are nestled in the steep ravines along northwestern Italy's Mediterranean coastline. The towns are fishing villages still, the same trade that has existed there for over 1,500 years. The seafood, the local produce, and wines were the main culinary attractions here. These picturesque villages welcome tourists from all over the world to explore their old town centers and walk the trails that connect them. Each town is about 5 kilometers from its nearest neighbors, and the trails climb up and over the steep mountainsides. Recent landslides have forced the hiking paths upward and lengthened the distances between the villages in the past 3 years. But the higher you go, the more splendid the scenery.
There is my little flower among the flowers.
After 3 days exploring the towns of Cinque Terre, we set out for the northern lake districts in Lake Como. Here we plan to stay halfway up Lake Como in Menaggio, a quaint town along the shoreline that was in the center of the busy ferry routes that connect the lake towns of Varenna and Bellagio.
Just northwest of Menaggio are the Italian Alps, with many trails to explore. We spent 2 of our days hiking up the steep trails that lace the mountainsides up to small restaurants within the mountains' refuges called the refugios, with stunning views of the lakes far below. We did take great advantage of the ferries that crisscrossed the lake and explored Varenna and nearby Bellagio, 2 old towns with classic lakeside hotels that were former estates of wealthy European families that vacationed along these beautiful mountain lakes. Each town had a flavor all its own, and we wound up our way up the narrow alleys and staircases of each of them. One of those days included a short drive into Switzerland, giving us a day hiking in that mountainous country.
What do you think, babe? Yeah. Finally, we set our sights back to the south to Milan, the cultural center of northwest Italy, to spend our last 2 days in Italy there. The highlights of this ancient city included the cathedral in the downtown square and some of the ancient chapels nearby. The shopping centers here carry the most expensive clothing lines in Europe, where you can drop thousands of euros for a dress or a jacket. We just window shopped as these items don't really fit our active lifestyle. The nightlife and food choices were robust in this active city. We wandered the party district late into the evening. After a wonderful 2 weeks in Europe, we hopped our short flight back to Paris, then our long daytime flight back to Seattle. What do you think of that line that we went through?
Ask me after I had some coffee.
It's a couple hours of sitting around waiting for the French to get their act together.
It was a wonderful time together and our first big adventure out of the country, with hopefully many more to come.